Alright, today we're going to be taking a look at my belt sander. It is a 3x18 inch. It's the model 9911, and this has done a lot of work. As you can see, it's full of dust and stuff. I got some shrapnel here, but you can see what happened on the back drive wheel is the rubber part started coming off. So whenever I'd be sanding something, it'd be very, bumpy, not to mention the wheel won't grip anymore. So we're going to open this up and we're going to try and rewrap this with something rubber-like to see if it will hold or drive a belt. If it does, great. If not, I guess I have to buy a new one. So let's open this guy up. Alright, so there's what's left of that. Alright, so we're going to try and experiment and use this stuff, which is sort of a self-adhesive rubberized plumbing wrap that I'm hoping will stick well enough to that to allow it to be useful. Now, of course, I have to try and get it inside. Alright, so to make sure that that rubber sticks well to this metal, we're going to put some Gorilla Glue on it. Alright, so we're going to let that dry. Now I am going to reassemble this entire thing because whether this works or not, it's got to go back together. Now on a pretty frightening note, you can see all the crud that I got out of it, so it was probably time to be cleaned. Not to mention I got to clean all this up. Alright, so I'm going to give this glue 24 hours to dry, and then I'm going to take the old sander for a spin. And I probably didn't need to take off both sides, I probably just needed to do this, but you can see it was probably a good thing. Oh, I got an extra screw. But it was probably a good thing as to clean out my sander. Most of that's from a deck I was stripping last summer. Make sure you get all the screws in. Having leftover parts is never a good thing. Alright, gonna clean up, let that glue dry, and then we're gonna try sanding something to see if it holds. Alright, so I've allowed this to dry. Seems to be good. Didn't lock anything up, so let's put a belt on it and try it out. What I've got here is a brand new 80 grit belt, so nice and aggressive. Basically that rubber is just to make sure that this this belt will be gripped properly and turned. Alright. Alright, so the belt's stuck on there well. Sanded myself through the veneer, which I did on purpose just to make sure this works. Got plenty of dust all over myself. So there is a really quick fix to fix your belt sander. Now, as you can see here, that's not a real quick fix because I basically stripped half of it off. So it's not tough enough. That plumbing tape is not tough enough to do this. So unfortunately, that did not work. We'll have to find a different option. Okay, so as I showed you previously, my El Cheapo fix did not work well. I ended up having to use this for a job, and as you can see, basically the rubber just caused a problem. So I did order some new parts. The parts aren't expensive, it's the shipping. The shipping cost 10 times what the parts did. So anyway, got the parts. Now I just need to get this sleeve on here after I clean this wheel up. So we get to take this thing back apart a little bit. However, on a good note, I don't have to take the whole thing apart. I just got to take this part off. I suppose it was a good idea to probably clean out the inside of my belt sander, considering how much crap came out of there. Okay. Yeah, so that was a real bad idea. I'm going to just use a razor scraper. Clean this up. Alright, so I got this wheel all cleaned up. Now, in theory, these things should just slip right over top. But I get the distinct feeling it is not going to be that simple. So it looks like the right size. Now I did order two because chances are I'm going to wreck one of these things getting them on there. Once you get it started, you just kind of gently wiggle it on there. Now once you get it on past this lip, it should be good. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it back together and put a belt on it and just see if that helps set it into place. Looks good. I'm sure over time that'll set into place, but it works. It's what we wanted. Good to go.